Welcome everyone to my rules review snippet series where I take a section of a rule book and I attempt to cover it in roughly 5 minutes or less. Today I'll be covering the enemies in Choir of Flesh, also known as creatures of the apocalypse in Choir of Flesh. So to begin with, we'll go through enemy behavior. So there are 3 tables that will be utilized for enemy behavior based on the number of major injuries the creature has suffered. If there are no major injuries, they'll roll on the no major injuries suffered table. 1 major injury, they'll roll on that table. And then finally, 2 or more major injuries, they'll roll on the final table. The main differences in the tables is the more they're injured, the more they may use a support action, for example, to heal themselves, or they might attempt to flee if they have 2 or more major injuries. So next, we're going to cover encounter difficulty. So encounter difficulty can be easy, average, or hard. Let's start with average in the middle. Average creatures use the average injury track, which means they will have 3 major injuries they can incur before they die. And they can also have 6 minor injuries before they die. So either or will cause them to die. And you'll use the standard stat block, which we'll go through in a minute. Now, if they are on the easy track, they'll use the easy injury track, and the stats will be reduced by 1 stage. So for those stats that have a stage for their number or their target, that will be reduced from, say, if it's average, it'll go down to easy and so on. And their accuracy will also be reduced by -1. The amount of experience you get will also be reduced by -1. And then finally, if you're on the hard, if the creature is a hard creature, then they will be on the hard injury track and they will have up to 4 major injuries before they pass away and then up to 8 minor. Creatures use in addition to the hard injury track, their stats will be increased by 1 stage and their accuracy will be increased by +1. You also get 1 additional XP for hard enemies. And you can see there's a D10 encounter difficulty table. So let's go through creature stats. I'm going to jump to the first creature in the book called an amalgam, and we'll just run through each of their stats. Accuracy. So accuracy is a reflection of how good their attack is. And when you are rolling to defend against an enemy, then you will have a -1 burden for every number, every 1 that is in their accuracy. So it's going to make them more difficult to hit. For attack, that is going to be a function of how good their attack is. So when you are rolling to defend, you're going to be rolling against, in this case, an average attack using the dynamic target table. Attributes, I'm going to cover those all together. So constitution, dexterity, strength, perception, and will. This represents what you will roll against, what the dynamic target number will be, depending on if any of your supernatural abilities have to be rolled against a specific attribute, or if you're trying to sneak past them or be stealthy, then you would roll against perception. Defense rating. So when you're attacking, you're going to be rolling against the enemy's defense rating. Initiative. Again, you'll be rolling initiative, but for the creatures, they will have a static initiative number. Like in this case, you would be rolling your roll every round against a 5 if you're encountering an amalgam. Move. So they can move 2, and you can move up, down, or also diagonally. So total, you can move orthogonally on the 5x5 combat grid. So they will be able to move 2 on their turn. And number, this tells you how many creatures you will be facing. So in this case, amalgams just come as a single entity. And finally, roll. Are they melee or are they ranged? So that will affect, I'm going to flip back for a second. That will affect their roll and what they do. So a melee creature will always attack if in range, and if not, they'll move and then attack. A ranged creature will always attack within range. If not, they'll move 1 and make a simple attack, which ignores range. Okay, I said finally, but also the last section I'll review here is everything underneath the core attribute tables. So you'll have experience granted listed here, loot. So you'll roll on a table. Amalgam does not have any loot, but they may. And if they do, this will tell you. And when you're rolling on the attack tables, this tells you their standard attacks, special attacks, and if they have any support actions. And then finally, if they have any other specific identifiable ability or something that comes inherent with them. So in this case, an amalgam has inhuman constitution and cannot be sickened or poisoned. So that's it for Creatures of the Apocalypse. I hope that was helpful, and I hope to see you next time.